Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am the Kilted Bastard, and today we are working on some hinge drills. Now, as you can see behind me, I have two different types, and really that just kind of really depends on hinge placement. So I'm going to show you how to do both of them, even though they're pretty much the exact same. Now, before we get started, I just want to clarify that on all of these drills. So technically I'll build 4 by the end of this with these two hinge drills, the plunge drill, the rotor drill, and both of these hinge drills. There's not necessarily a wrong drill to use. There may be a wrong drill for you to use for that situation, but not necessarily a wrong drill. It just really depends on what your use case is. So with that, let's go ahead and jump right into things. All right, we are back in my little earth lab, and right here I have two of our kind of frames done up because we're going to kind of quickly show you both of them. But for now, we're just going to focus on this one right over here. So for this one, we are going to need our hinge. We're going to need some pistons as well. We're going to need a drill, well, multiple drills. And to make the drill kind of do its movement, we're going to need a couple of vent controllers. Now, I'm tossing in a couple blocks here just to kind of make things look pretty. And I do have to apologize, but in my last 2 videos, I made a mistake. And it's a silly mistake because they've changed it. It's been done. I've never had to deal with this issue. But I'm going to correct it in this video, but I will do it after I'm done with at least building the drill. All right, so with that, here is our frame. We're going to start things off by placing our hinge up top. We'll follow that up with our piston. And then our 2 drills. Or 3 drills, technically. And with that, that is at least the drill component of this already built. Now, if I sit here and or to go in using build vision, turn on the velocity, it works. Like, you know, it hinges, it swings, it does its job. Now, the problem is nothing is telling this hinge block that it's okay to swing the other direction. It's going to continue trying to apply force in the direction it was given. So that is where our event controllers come in handy. So we're going to sit here. I'm going to turn this block off for now. And it's just going to kind of swing. And we're going to use our event controllers. I'm going to toss an event controller down here. And because of stuff and things, I'm going to sit here and toss the other event controller right here. I'm going to add my my blocks to make it look pretty. I know it's silly. Well, not even pretty, but... And then I'll do that over here on this side. All right, and with that, that is all the components that we need for it and placed. So now let's get into the settings of it. So as you kind of saw right here, using build vision, I set the velocity of that hinge already to 2 rotations per minute. And with that, we're going to sit here. I'm going to open my K menu in this, and we have our 2 event controls. We're going to start off with those first. This first one, we're going to rename just so it's easier for us to kind of find later. EC dash drill 90. All right. We'll go to our second one. EC dash drill negative 90. And we'll start off with this one. So what we'll need to do is, this is our event controller menu. So for this one, the event, we're going to go down to this tab called event. We're going to click it. And the event we are looking for is angle change. And since this is going to be our negative 90, we want to switch our condition to equal or less than. I'm going to hit control, right click. I'm going to then type in negative 89. Just kind of before 90, because I don't know why. To me, it could be a placebo effect. I think it just runs better that way. We're going to go down after we set our angle threshold, hit hinge, add it to our selected blocks. And the last thing we need to do is make sure we scroll up to here and select our actions. From here, we'll find our hinge, select it, drag it down to the toolbar, and we want this to reverse. And that's it. This part of our, I'll hit X right here. This part of our drill, our system is already done. So now we're going to do this to the other one. It's the same process. We're going to select it, back to our event, angle change. This time, though, we want to make sure we keep it equal or greater than. Hit Control, right-click, positive 89. Select that. Select Hinge 2 as our selected blocks. And just set our actions. Now, with that, this drill is done. Like, there ain't nothing else we need to do but run it. So I'm going to click my drills. And hit Shift, click all three. Turn on the blocks. And we are going to turn our hinge back on. Now, what we're going to notice is it's going to go up. Hit that 89.90 and switch directions. Now, the nice part about this is it used to be before the event controllers, we had to use timer blocks, and that got a little bit messy. But this way, no matter how fast you set this hinge, you know, I'll go use build vision here to kind of do this. I can raise this velocity up to whatever it is, and it's going to... I messed with it, so now it doesn't like me. It's going to work. If you saw, though, I did go a little bit too fast, and it likes to bounce sometimes. So that's kind of why I set this down to a velocity of 2. You know, you can do faster, you can do slower. It's just what I like. Now, something we do need to remember that we need to do, especially if we have more pistons in this thing, is go back to our menu. Oop, not like A. And make sure our piston, we select inertial tensors. We don't want to do it on the hinge because it does some wonky stuff. For this small of a unit, though, we can probably get away with it. That one's done. Nothing else. It will just keep going and keep going and keep going. So what we'll do for this one is we're going to do the same thing. I already set up the event controller. Well, I haven't set up the event controllers. But this time, I'm going to sit here and add the piston. And then the hinge. And then the drills. And that's it. That's the difference. We'll sit here. Let's, jump back into our event controllers. We're going to set the same settings. I won't rename these just because, just to do it quickly. So angle change, equal greater than, positive 89. Second one, angle change, equal and less than, negative 89. Select our hinge. Select our action. Reverse. Select our hinge. Select our action. Reverse. Turn inertial tensors on. Set hinge velocity to 2 RPM. And just let it go. And there you go. They're both now operating as they should. We can go into here. Hit OK. Turn on our drills. And kind of go from there. Now, a couple different kind of settings with this one. And I wanted to kind of wait until after I got both of these built. When we set our speeds for our pistons, we're going to go into here. I like to do them really, really slow. So for my velocity on these, when I set them, I'm doing 0.0003. And it will go. Now, normally I start these also a little closer to the ground, but it just is going to crawl. But it's better than having a broken drill. Now, we're going to take a quick pause here, and I want to show you the mistake I made before I show you kind of the results of these. And that mistake is a very, very silly but simple mistake. And that is, in my first video, I put a sorter right here. Now, when I learned to play engineers, I learned that you needed a sorter in between your drills and your cargo container. Even to this day, it's something I remember that you don't need to do that. Drills automatically try to fill the first cargo container. And kind of the only thing that I was thinking about is that only matters if I'm not using a cargo container right here. So if this cargo container is going to be your first cargo container in the line before it gets distributed out to your refineries and other storage, you don't need, it can just go straight into the cargo container. Now, if you have, like with these set up with the cargo container right here, you want cargo to pull out of this container first because you don't want to trigger our overflow system. So I hope that kind of makes some sense, but we're just going to sit here and throw a couple of these here and our cargo container back. So with that quick explanation, let's kind of show you the results. All right, and here are my two ones that I set up earlier. And this is just one piston. As you can see, the one that had the hinge prior to the piston got a much wider area, but they both got about the same depth. You know, like I said, depending on your use case, you might not be able to get away with this, and I've gotten pretty big drills using this system, but a lot of times when I'm building a hinge drill, it's usually this, and I'm going straight down in a hole that wide, or wider, because usually I use more than 3, or I do a couple other things. With that, though, let's take a look. So in this one, our cargo container where we have the hinge at the bottom directly connecting to the drills, we were able to get 198,000 kilograms of material. With our one with the hinge up top, we were able to get 370,000 kilograms of stone. Now, both of these, if you notice, are way bigger than our rotor and our plunge drill. So when it comes to just sheer ability to just eat dirt, hinge drills are kind of the way to go. Now, with this, everything's done. You can set this up, you can leave it, and do kind of whatever. But before I leave you and kind of close out my video, I want to kind of address a couple things. So in my last video, I had a couple of comments. One of them, kind of in regards to a question and somebody responded. And I liked the question and I liked how this guy responded because I felt that it summarized it really well. So at Hunter Crow 71 asked or commented that I've always been curious about why people make contraptions like this rather than just mine the resources with a ship. And he added, but I guess it's anonymous, just stationary and setup costs. Now, I responded to that one because it is a very good question. My personal one is I just hate mining planet side. So the more I can automate it, the better. But then uh the urine, I'm gonna butcher this, so I'm sorry, man. The urinotherapy, he sat here responded, if you need bulk, as in millions and millions of base material, which you will need, you can set up several rotor miners and you can ship mine for just the rare materials. And you can come back to a system that's filled, that's cranking out steel plates. Well, okay, I'm kind of taking over from his comment from right here. Um, and that is kind of what I want to hit. A lot of this is going to be you want this to mine all of the basic resources. Set one of these drill contraptions up above a combination iron and cobalt deposit, and you just want these things just to go. A magnesium and nickel deposit, just go. You may have several of these set up, just eating away ore. And the other thing with something like this, you don't have to throw out the stone because at this point you're base side, so you can just utilize that stone for the resources in it. You don't have to worry about the weight of the stone. So with that, I know this video is kind of running a little bit long, and I'm hoping you stuck around until the end. And I want to thank you if you did. Um, if you liked what you watched, go ahead, please subscribe. If you have a question, please leave it in the comments. I'm new to this, so like if you have done this before and you just happen to be like, hey, you know what, this guy could do a little bit better with this thing, let me know. I take constructive criticism very well. As a matter of fact, the same urine no therapy, he called me out on the sorter thing. He's absolutely right. In a typical setup, you don't need a sorter. And I am guessing that maybe wasn't entirely clear when I sat here and explained that. That's okay. Um, so with that, thank you for sticking around with me, and I hope you have a great rest of your night. Until next time, I'm the Kilted Bastard, and I'll see you later.